Hello there, blade fans. Welcome back. And I've got something I feel is a little unique today. We're taking a step up from what I've done previous videos on with fixed blade pocket checks. These are small blades that would fit in your pocket with the sheath and could be deployed from the pocket. And usually they were in the 3 to 4 inch range, right? And I figured, well, we'll give some equal time to some blades that are a step up. And I've classified these as being in the 4 to 6 inch range. And they are all tactically oriented, meaning they can be used for EDC work, but they've got a lot of built-in features that kind of lend them towards knife defense, um, military, police, tactical, backup to a firearm, that kind of thing. So I don't want to explain myself away here, but I settled for these 7 knives. I could have thrown a few more in, and there's some I really like that were right on the borderline of being, maybe 4 inches or a little over. However, here we are, and I'm going to go through them probably counterclockwise. And they're all in the sheath, so we're going to do kind of a reveal here. This is the fixed blade Designs Fenrir. And this is a wicked Wharncliffe style blade with pretty much a straight edge, some nice jimping at the top. And this one has the Jade Green G10. It's what was available pretty much wherever you went for a while, a couple months back. This one came from White Mountain Knives, and well under 100, and they're doing it in 14C, even though I don't know. Yeah, that's on there, 14C 28N up in there. It's got a little booger there. Heavy stonewash. So if you're concerned about the finishes on your knives, this would be one to get. And a wicked point on this guy. Blade length, I will do a quick blade length on each of these so you get an idea how large. It's 4¼ inches and about 4¼ cutting edge. So it just makes it over my threshold of 4 inches. But well qualifies because of how tall that blade is. And that blade is over 1.5 inches tall. Really nice place here for go forward. Sort of a finger choil melded into the handle. Comfortable, very flat, very narrow across the handle. So easy to carry with that regard. Sheath comes with a Tech-Lock type sheath or Tech-Lock type attachment for your belt. Got a tunnel here, beautiful push off. I love it when they do that. And there's some very expensive knives that don't do that, so I don't get it. But should you ever want to take it out slowly and quietly, you can do that. And it locks in beautifully. So I'm going to put that guy aside. Well, let's just stick them back in the places where they were. How about that? Next, we're going to go to Fox Knives and the Ryu. And this is a beautiful traditional Tanto style blade designed by Blackrock Knives, Ken Vihikite. He makes a custom version of this that's absolutely gorgeous. And on the custom version, he carries his rock pattern out onto that flat there. This one is Nylox steel. That's an interesting one to look up. It's kind of in that classification with the Sleipner steels. This is an Italian-made knife by Fox. There's the Fox. So we've got really comfortable blade, tapered handle, big hole there. Why there's a large hole for lanyard, I don't know. Could be used, I suppose, for positioning if you like to spin your knife around. I'm not going to drop it on the other knives, so I'm using two hands here. Widely separated and deep jimping right there. And this is just a pleasure to hold. Comes through wickedly sharp as well. I think what we'll do, since we're going around the table here, is let you see them all without the sheaths. So when we have our parting shot, you'll get to see those. So the Fenrir, that's a wolf, I believe, in ancient Nordic terminology. And the Ryu by Fox Knives. Now, I should have saved this for last, but this has got to be my favorite all-time knife, not only in this category, but pretty much all around. It just melts into your hand. And this is the Assault Calyps by Bastinelli Knives. M390 steel, G10, 3D machined black G10. Beautiful jimping. Bastion Cove's design, just incredible. And I think this replaced one of the knives that he did for some French military unit. You may have more information on that than me. But this has got to be one of the most ergonomic handles going. And I know a lot of us don't care for finger grooves because it kind of commits you to a way of holding it. But let me tell you, if you ever put this knife in your hand, you won't want to let it go. It is just gorgeous. Got kind of a sax look to the blade there. Call it a Warncliffe or a clip with a broad, shallow belly and a very high grind. This one is in a stonewash. They make it in a black DLC as well. Gorgeous, gorgeous knife. Coming in around 300 bucks, not cheap, but I got to tell you, worth every penny. Now, I haven't attached the tech lock to this. It does come with a tech lock, but here's one of those knives where it's disappointing in that you don't really have a decent push off there. It really could have benefited, and it probably could be adjusted with a little heat gun and lifting that up a little bit to have one. And it is fairly tight in the sheath. So the only complaint about this would be the sheath. The knife itself is absolutely gorgeous. It is, I said I would measure the blades on these and I skipped one. Let me go back. So this is like 5 3/4. Yep, hooked it on the point. And going back to the Ryu, that is 5 1/2 roughly. I often ding knives up when I have them all out on the table like this because they don't have a very grippy surface, so I'm being careful. Moving on, this is the Artisan Reckhart. It is a style of knife I wasn't familiar with until I got this, with a double grind that looks like a spear point, but ground only on one side. You probably could sharpen this knife on the top edge since it's a sheath knife. Interesting squared off coffin style handle on it. Very comfortable in the hand. No jimping here. And I think that's probably because of the narrowing of the swedge on the top there. The steel on this one, I believe, is their proprietary AR RPM 9 that Artisan likes to use, both on their Artisan knives as well as their CJRB line. Plenty of handle to hold on to here. Not an expensive knife. I'm going to link all of these for you. Really nice fuller down the middle. It's just an interesting military looking sort of a blade. Could be used as a camp knife. You don't have a very high grind there, but certainly good for poking and prying a little bit lightly, I would suppose. Not sure how the AR RPM 9 holds up to tough use like that. Might be just perfect. But that is the Reckhart by Artisan. Another interesting knife. And I've got to hold to my promise here. It is a 4.5-inch blade. So of the knives we have here, slightly smaller. Moving on now. Yeah, said I was doing that, right? To a Reich knife that I don't believe I'm going to be able to find a link for you to, since I don't believe they're being manufactured anymore. And this one is called simply the K1 for knife one, right? Or is it F1? I think it's F1 for fixed blade one. Anyway, the name will be in the link. And it is not from D2, it is from CPM D2, which is Crucible Powder Metallurgy. So higher end, better steel for D2. But an interesting blade. I don't know that we could even describe the type of blade that this is, but it is a high grind, wickedly sharp blade from Reich Knives. As you know, Reich Knives lately has been making knives for Microtech. Their SOCOM Bravo line is making an axe folder for them, and makes a number of really interesting folders, including the lamella of their own design. See-through, straight through the scales here, black G10, thick steel. That is a probably coming up on, take forever if I do this for each of them, but what do we got? Yeah, 4.5 millimeters on the blade stock, pretty thick. And if we go all the way to the handle, about 5.5 inches, cutting edge 5 inches. So well within that 4 to 6 inch territory. Really ergonomic. It's as if you grabbed a piece of clay and molded into your hand. Great thumb ramp there. Some jimping on that ramp. Plenty of room in the finger choil here if you want to choke up. It's an interesting knife. I wish that they had continued making it. As you saw earlier, comes with a tech lock. And is this even the right sheath? Yes, it is. So this one does have a push off here, right? So kind of satisfies that criteria for me. Moving on to Microtech and the Crosshair. Interesting Molly styled clamps here on this. Really nicely done sheath, and I think all the Microtech sheaths are excellent. Does have a push off, no problem. I've had this knife for quite a few years. As a matter of fact, I had ordered it in S30V and ended up getting a D2 knife. Yes, Microtech D2 from probably going back close to 10 years ago or so. The manufacturer on this one is 2011. So probably got it somewhere in that time frame. So I've had it over 10 years. Wickedly sharp. Hasn't seen much of any field use, but it would make a great survival style knife. Can be used for poking things, can be used for cutting rough, difficult to cut materials, and you've got a smooth edge. I like it even under out the front knives when you've got the option there. You've got serrated and you've got smooth, so you don't have to stay with one or the other. Beautiful jimping here, very aggressive. That isn't really so much a finger choil as a sharpening choil. I think I tried sticking my finger up in there once and got nicked by the heel of that blade. They use a composite type material here. It's not micarta, it's not G10. It's kind of a molded material that's got a kind of an orange peel stippling to it. And they're proprietary screws, they're tri-wings, which they don't give you a wrench for in the kit, but I doubt that I'd want to take those off anyway. They're rounded, it's very ergonomic, very solid, and we've got what? 5-inch blade. So right in the middle of the category that I chose for this. Last but not least, the Maxwell from Civivi. And here's where they did an excellent job, almost a tunnel there for your thumb. Your thumb fits right in there. So you want to ease that off, no problem. You want to snap it off, no problem. Tech lock here, these are going to be the actual Terzola tech locks that Bob designed. He came up with the idea. Obviously, you can take it off, and any of these you can take off the tech locks and put whatever you want on there. DCC, discrete carry concepts, ulti-clip, whatever. This is a major wide Tonto sort of spear point. I'm going to call it a spear point Tonto because you've got that forward point. That forward point, by the way, can be used on the cut as a way to enhance the slashing ability of a knife because it protrudes forward and breaks open the material that you're cutting, whatever that may be. Can be used in EDC that way, or the point. Very broad blade. Measuring this one up, and I did a review on this fairly recently. 4 3/4 to there, but we're talking like 5 1/4 cutting edge. Got a little hint of, I would call it a sharpening choil there. I wouldn't call it a place to put your finger. But again, forward finger groove, backward groove there. These two fingers fit over that raised portion very comfortably and a very nice thumb ramp. So great for thrusting, great for cutting, even some, I would say, field and camp chores. So there they all are. Let's bring these points forward a little bit. Those are some of my favorites in the mid-range size for fixed blade knives. The Designs Fenrir, the Ryu by Fox Knives, the Assault Calyps by Bastinelli, the Reckhart by Artisan, the F1 by Reich, no longer produced, the Crosshair by Microtech, and the Maxwell, designed by Macy Torbe, by the way, by Civivi. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this and it was interesting for you. As I said, I'll link all the knives that are available currently for sale. I think most of them still are, in case you're interested. Don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe. I'll be back with you soon.